You ever look back and just shake your head at your younger self? Well, this is a story about exactly that. It's about hindsight, right? A look back from the wisdom of being 52 to the raw, kind of reckless ambition of being 20. It's really about the hard lessons you learn when you push yourself to the absolute limit. Wow, that quote just hits, doesn't it? It's so powerful because I think we can all relate to that feeling of invincibility when we were young. Thinking you had it all figured out, only to realize, decades later, that you were just getting started. This journey, from knowing it all to actually learning, that's what we're going to break down today.
So let's dive into that first chapter, the hard-headed 20s. This is that time in life that's pretty much defined by one simple and, let's be honest, often punishing belief that more is always the answer. More work, more intensity, more sacrifice, you know the drill.
Okay, look at this. It's like two totally different worlds, right? On one side, you've got the 20-year-old's mantra. It's all about brute force. More is better, rest is for the weak, just push through it. But then you look at the 52-year-old's philosophy, and it's all about finesse. Smarter is better. Rest is essential. It's a complete 180 from just raw intensity to, well, intelligence.
And this is what that hard-headed approach looks like in practice. This is the playbook. It's maxing out every single time you're in the gym, ignoring your body when it's screaming for a break, and of course, sacrificing sleep for the grind. It's this core belief that the only way forward is to just keep punishing your body into submission. And that brings us to the most important question of all. You can live like this for a while, for sure. You might even see some impressive results. But there is always a cost. So what's the bill that eventually comes due when you live this way? Because eventually, you hit a wall. Hard. The body you've been treating like a machine, it starts to protest. Maybe it's a knee that just gives out one day, or a mental burnout so deep you can barely function. This is the reckoning. It's that moment where the consequences just can't be ignored anymore.
And here's the simple, undeniable truth of it all. You just can't cheat the system forever. It doesn't matter if it happens in your late 20s, your 30s, or even later. All that relentless pushing, all those warning signs you ignored, it all adds up. The bill always arrives.
So what does that bill actually look like? Well, it's not just one thing. A huge chunk, 40%, is straight-up physical injury. The torn muscles, the bad back that never seems to heal. But look at this. Almost as much, 35%, is mental burnout. And then there's this kicker. Another 25% is just diminishing returns. That's when you're working harder than ever and actually getting worse. The price is steep, and you pay for it with your body, your mind, and your performance. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom, because this is where the story takes a turn for the better. After the reckoning, there's an awakening. This is the second wind. It's when you stop fighting your body and you finally start working with it. It's all about learning to train smart. So what does training smart really mean? Well, think of it as a philosophy of playing the long game. And here's the most crucial part. Recovery isn't what you do when you're too tired to train. Recovery is part of the training. It's the secret ingredient that actually makes all that hard work stick. And here's how you actually do it. It all boils down to these 4 pillars. First, you prioritize recovery. That means you schedule your rest just like you schedule your workouts. Second, you have to learn to listen to your body, to know the difference between the good discomfort that leads to growth and the bad pain that leads to injury. Third, focus on consistency. Just showing up day after day is way more valuable than going supernova for a week and then crashing for a month. And finally, embrace active recovery, understanding that sometimes a light walk can do way more for you than just laying on the couch.
So, if we could take all this wisdom, all these tough lessons learned by age 52, and send them back in a time machine, what would the message be? What's the one core piece of advice for that hard-headed 20-year-old?
This is it. This is the whole takeaway. Do it in your 20s, not your 50s. In other words, don't wait for the injuries, the burnout, and the regrets to force you to change. Learn these lessons now. Build these smart, sustainable habits when you're young, and you won't have to spend your 50s trying to fix all the damage. You'll be building on a rock-solid foundation. So, let's end with a question for you. Forget about a massive life overhaul. Just think about this one thing. Looking at your own routine, your own grind, what's one small, smart change you can make this week? Maybe it's getting an extra hour of sleep. Maybe it's scheduling a real rest day. What's that very first step you can take on a smarter path?